Hello and welcome to One United. My name is Paritosh Joshi and I'm here along with Wali Siddiqui and Anshuman Joshi talking about Manchester United. We had a good result in the last fixture, 2-1 win for Manchester United. Some predictions were right according to One United in that particular fixture. A fantastic game for United fans because we came from behind and eventually won the game. Important 3 points, and we'll be talking about that and more in this edition of the podcast. First of all, welcome Wali and Anshuman. How are you guys feeling? Wali, I'll go with you first.
Well, it's all good. We seal the 3 points, and yeah, so far so good. And another big game awaits, quarterfinal against Granada. We'll be discussing about that. So yeah,
Anshuman, what are your thoughts about the game and how are you feeling?
Well, I'm just glad that we were able to come away with 3 points, and now we can look forward to a game that, on paper, we should be winning easily.
Yeah, we should be winning that game easily. And let's talk about the game and how it affects our chances of securing the top four spot. The Brighton win, is that going to seal our Champions League spot? That is going to be the main issue. I'll go around the I'll go around the panel and I'll talk to I'll talk to Anshuman first about it. Do you think the Champions League spot is sealed with that win against Brighton?
Oh, no, not at all. I don't think that it's sealed. Because if you really need an example, just remember that last year we just took it for granted that Leicester were going to qualify for the Champions League, and then they did not. So yeah, we are quite clear. We have quite a cushion ahead of the rest of the teams, and then you also have to remember the fact that teams keep losing and dropping points. So yeah, but I would still not say that we are 100% clear. We really should be vigilant regarding that. And as far as the match is concerned, the Brighton match is concerned, it was just like the last time we faced them. We did not particularly play well. We started with a lot of promise because we had a lot of attacking players going into the match. I mean, only Fred was the defensive-minded player. We had Pogba, we had Bruno, we had Cavani, Greenwood, and Rashford. And we started with a lot of promise. We started with a lot of creativity. And I thought that it could be a good game coming after the international break. Did not turn out that way. They conceded, they scored a goal against the run of play, and after that, were not able to play well. And we were not able to string passes together because the thing about Brighton is they always play well, and they're just not able to score. But now they were able to score, and then they were able to capitalize on it. They were quite comfortable in possession, and Welbeck and Lalana, they were able to really play a great game against us in the midfield. And that was quite worrying because Bruno and Pogba, even though they ended the match with assists, they did not particularly play well in my opinion. I mean, for the first 60 minutes up until the point where we scored our first goal, the best passer on the game on our side was Fred, and that tells you everything you need to know about how good we were playing in the midfield. So yeah, it wasn't that exciting a game, but good thing is that we were able to come back from behind. We were able to score goals. Marcus Rashford scored a good goal. He went off with an injury, which was worrying to see because he had just come back. I just hope it's nothing serious. And then Greenwood scored. Bruno and uh, Bruno and Pogba both got an assist despite their average performance. So all around, it was a good match in the sense that we got away with the match, got away with 3 points, and all our usual suspects got in on the act, goal or an assist. So now we can just go in and we can just wait for the Granada match.
Okay, so not a great performance according to Anshuman. Wali, what are your thoughts about the Brighton game? And is the Champions League spot seed?
I feel that the Champions League spot is pretty much sealed because we have an 11. We know West Ham won the last game against Wolves last night. If we win our game in hand, then we will be 11 points adrift to the fifth spot, West Ham United. So yeah, I think that it is pretty much sealed. But once again, that's another classic case of another good result, but another bad performance. And that was the case once again. Brighton in the first half, especially the players of the park, and this has been the story for Manchester United. There hasn't been a game where we have dominated like for complete 90 minutes, except for the game against you could say Southampton, in which they lost one of their players in the first minute itself, and so you just had to basically dominate the 90 minutes. But that hasn't been the story of the season so far. Yes, 25. In retrospect, you can say that we won 25 points in spite of trailing. But you also have to consider the fact that why was there a reason to go one goal behind if you are like one of the most gigantic clubs in the land, then you have to impose yourself on such teams. And so far, we haven't showed that dominance. And in spite of, I thought that Paul Pogba, Fred, and Bruno Fernandes were the ideal midfield if you're not starting Donny van de Beek. But in spite of that, in the first half, there wasn't that fluidity that I was expecting. You could see that Pogba wanted to go up front more. In spite of being deep, he wanted to support Fred as well. So you need to come up with a solution for that as well. And the good thing is that we have clutch players. Basically, when the moment arrives, you can rely on Paul Pogba, Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes to get you the goal or assist even after a poor performance. But this is something which needs to change. We have to change because uh, good results. Yeah, the same thing happened under Jose Mourinho's second season. We were not playing good football, but we were getting good results. And then soon enough, those good results dried up. And since we were not performing well on the pitch, we started losing games, and it all turned into a pretty ugly scene. So Solskjaer needs to change his ways with how he wants his players to basically adapt and to attack. This is something which I want, and it's been the story of the season so far. So let's just see if, honestly, from my personal opinion, I just go with the same expectation that yeah, we might concede a goal, then we might come back, we might not play well. That has been the story of the season so far. So until the end of the season, I expect that this will continue, and then we'll see what happens next season.
Okay, so that's it about the Champions League spot and the previous game. We'll be talking about the Europa League now. But just before that, there's an important topic at hand. The end of David De Gea at United. Is this the final season that De Gea plays as the number one goalkeeper for Manchester United? Wally, I'll come to you first. You're an avid David De Gea fan. You also
Yes.
once spotted your WhatsApp DP as his photo. So,
For a
what are
year.
your thoughts about what are your thoughts about David De Gea, almost in a controversial, diabolical situation at Manchester United?
When there was a time when there was this debate going around, especially during Van Gaal and Mourinho's era, that just name the number of world class players that you have, and the first player that always popped up in everyone's mind was David De Gea.
David De Gea,
Yes,
yeah.
some people agreed with Paul Pogba, some didn't, but David De Gea was a constant in everyone's mind. And yes, you can see that his performance dipped last season, and the previous season he wasn't so good. But this season, I don't think that he's done anything as wrong as people suggest, and it's been unfair to him as well. And you could understand why Dean Henderson is being given a preference, but there's a way of doing certain things. I honestly feel that, like I've said before, it's a media narrative agenda. Like they want Dean Henderson to be between the sticks for the Euros as well. Dean Henderson seems pretty confident enough that he should be playing for England as well as Manchester United. But let's not forget that David De Gea was the player of the season on three seasons in the row. And another factor which I think has played a major role is Harry Maguire's influence. As per reports, I was hearing that Harry Maguire had a word with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the locker room, and he preferred Dean Henderson to be the goalkeeper. And and when your defender suggests that if you have a goalkeeper when the cross comes in, you want your goalkeeper to gather the ball, the margin of error for the defender deteriorates, and there will be less number of fans actually putting the blame on Maguire and Victor Lindelof that they should have headed the ball outside. That is one of the main reasons as well. But like I said, David De Gea was on paternity leave, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer suggested that Henderson will be starting in 6 games, but he started in the previous Premier League game as well. It's looking cagey at the moment. I do not know what the future is for David De Gea, and like I've said before as well, it's been an incompetent board. If you wanted to sell De Gea, then why did you increase his wages to 350K? Who's going to afford him now? And another interesting point is that since the Premier League is pretty much done and dusted for Manchester United in a way, I think you could also. The second point is that probably he wants his best goalkeeper. I think David De Gea is certainly the best goalkeeper in the team still to play in the cup competition, and you never know, he might play a pivotal role in the Europa League. So it'll be interesting to see if he starts in the Europa League. But if he doesn't, then I think he might be leaving because he'll be wondering what just happened over here. So yeah, tomorrow's game will be of paramount importance for either of the goalkeepers.
Okay, Anshuman, what are your thoughts about the De Gea situation regarding Dean Henderson, and what do you think the future holds for David De Gea?
Well, we have discussed this before, and I have already posited that I think that Dean Henderson should be the long-term solution to Manchester United. I agree when Wally says that he has not made that many mistakes, and yeah, that's true. That excuse me, things have not been as cataclysmic with David De Gea this season. He hasn't handed the ball in at the end of a net. That is completely true. But the point is that he has made mistakes. He has been he has been slightly problematic. So I think the biggest problem that the Wali points out that he has. Why would you give him a contract of 350k? And the reason he was given 350k contract because when they did sign him, they did not have a Dean Henderson. They did not know that Dean Henderson would become this much of a prospect that he has become over the past 2 years. And the other thing is that the David De Gea has been 3 times player of the season for us, and that's true. But then that tells you a lot. Another problematic aspect of Manchester United squad that has been over the past 8 years. That if your best player has been your goalkeeper, then that tells you how underprepared your squad in general is. And look, there is. I'm gonna not throw any shade to David De Gea. He has been absolutely fantastic for us. He has been a great servant. But the reality is that he has been erring in the past few years. Does that mean that Dean Henderson has not made mistakes? Of course he has. He has already made mistakes over the past 6, 7 matches, and he will continue to do so. But sometimes in this is business. This is about business, and sometimes we have to make hard decisions. Dean Henderson is 23 years old. David De Gea is 30. David De Gea is not old by goalkeeping standards, but there is still a seven. There's still a 7 years worth of deficit. And I think only Solskjaer had a lot of problems because he was wondering how to replace David De Gea because I think this was inevitability. I think Dean Henderson was always going to be the number one Manchester United goalkeeper in time. So the David De Gea leaving to be with his family in Spain gave Oli quite a solid opportunity to just allow Dean Henderson back into the stakes and not have to make a big explanation about it. So I think he got lucky in that regard. And as far as Dean Anderson is concerned, things have been quite decent, solid as far as defensively. Ever since he went back into the sticks, I think we have conceded like 1, 2 goals if you exclude the FA Cup match, and that is massive. Like when in towards the turn of the year, Manchester United had already conceded like 31, 32 goals, and I was worried that where our defense was going because we conceded 36 in the entirety of last season, and I was worried we might easily concede more than 50 by the time this league ends. But currently, our goal concedes are 33, and that's massive, and that has to be taken into account. So I think Dean Anderson has made a pretty ironclad case for himself. Do I think David De Gea will be sold? I don't think that will happen because he has a contract until 2023. There is a 350k a week contract. You don't really just leave it and walk away because even if when his contract ends, he'll be 32 years of age. He'll have suitors even then. I think David De Gea is the number two for now because Dean Henderson is not putting a foot wrong at the moment. Mistakes are always there, but not in such a way that it would warrant David De Gea to come back. And I think we can have at least one more season of David before he starts saying that I want away. That's usually what happens when you have two equally good goalkeepers. They at least stick around for one season before one of them decides that no, I cannot have this. The one once again, I will reiterate the same thing happened with Chelsea's 2014-15 season when they had Kutu and Petacek at the same time. So yeah, that is the case. My preference will always be that given the age and the wages and everything, Dean Henderson has to be our number one goalkeeper from going forward. But I will just say that if we are to let David De Gea go, we just give him the respect that he so clearly deserves. He has been with us for 10 years now. He has been one of our best players, and I just hope we don't end up treating him the same way we did Sergio Romero. And that's all I really want. That he has been a brilliant servant for us, and he should be allowed to leave with the given the same regard.
Would you guys
Yeah,
consider David De Gea a Manchester United legend, by the way?
obviously,
Just
yeah, yeah, for
yeah,
sure, for sure, for sure.
nice. So do I. He's won the Premier League after all, so yeah, you have to consider him a legend.
For sure, dude. 3 times he's been the player of the. It's because of him that we played in Europe and we were still considered a
Yeah.
force because we were having those results against. For example, take the game against Manchester City, where we
Mm.
were losing 2-0 and we finally came back to win 3-2 when Pogba scored twice and then Chris Smalling scored the winner.
Yeah, I remember.
Uh, he
He,
saved a
he
magical goal against magical save
Aguero,
against
Aguero.
Kun Aguero. And there are many instances where De Gea completely saved our asses, and that's why he deserves to.
Arsenal, Tottenham, like 9 or
Many
10,
games,
11
many
saves
games,
in that.
many games,
So
many games, many games. There was a season where Wayne Rooney was the sole player left who you can rely on, and De Gea was saving everything left, right, and center. And it is because of these two players that United was still able to compete and have a say in the Premier League. So yeah,
I
for sure,
think
a Premier League legend,
he was one
one
of
of the
those rare
finest of the Premier League.
goalkeepers. Yeah, he
One
was
of
one of
the
those rare goalkeepers who you basically were excited to, see him in
yeah, yeah,
action because the saves that he
yeah.
pulled off was unbelievable.
He saved from everywhere, from his fingertips, from his foot. There's no body part left from where the hair hasn't made a save. So that tells a story. But I hope this doesn't come to an ugly end, but we'll have to wait and see. Moving on about the Europa League, we have Granada away in the Europa League quarter-final fixture. It is going to be 9th of April, 12:30. That is 30 past midnight at IST. And this is going to be a big, big game. A game which we should be winning, but with Manchester United, you never know. I'll go with Anshuman first. What do you think about the Granada game, and how do you see teams being set up?
Well, as far as European quarterfinals are concerned, I think Manchester United are pretty glad that they got a draw like Granada. The interesting thing with Granada is that ever since they came back to La Liga since 2018-19, they have been punching above their weight. I'm pretty sure that people who regularly watch La Liga will be able to tell me that's not the case, that they are deservingly as far as they are, but they have been performing quite well the moment they arrived. I mean, the first season they ended seventh, which is why they are playing in the Europa League. They're currently ninth in the table. They don't really have a lot of exciting names. I think there are a few names that you might be able to remember. There's Roberto Soldado, who played for Spurs. There is
Mm.
Kennedy, Chelsea, who's still on loan from Chelsea, I think. Their most exciting player is Darwin Machis, the Venezuelan winger. So they don't really have that as many exciting names on paper as Manchester United. I mean, any team hardly does. So I think on paper this is not really any kind of question as to who should be winning this
They're
match.
coming off
But
a
as Wali
three-game
pointed out,
losing streak. They're coming off a
Mm.
three-game losing streak as well.
true, true. And but as Wali said, that when Manchester United go into a match being the overwhelming favorites, we always tend to make things exciting for ourselves by making it tough. So, and the thing with Granada is that they beat Napoli in the round of 32, then they beat Solskjaer's Molda in round of 16. So they have already showed that they are playing fearlessly. They have absolutely nothing, absolutely no reason to fear anything. They are already done their as much as they thought they were going to. These are already uncharted waters, so they are going to play fearless football. They're not going to care about whether they lose or win by too much. This is because Manchester United are considered by many as the out and out favorites for Europa League period, let alone this time. So that is, I think, what Granada is going to offer. They're going to offer fearlessness. And as far as Manchester United are concerned, they need to bury this in the first match itself because our injury crisis has started to ramp up now. Rashford has gone off injured. Martial, people are saying that he's now going to be injured for the rest of the season, that he needs surgery now. That takes out two of our prominent wing options. So just makes me incredibly worried as to what can happen. So as far as Manchester United are concerned, they should be going into this match on Thursday, knowing that if they can do a Sociedad like situation, if they can just win in the first leg and don't have to worry too much about the second one, that would be nice because we have much more important matches to come on. And that does not obviously mean that you underestimate Granada because they have already beaten big teams. They'll continue to do so. They have absolutely no fear, as I've said. So yeah, let's see that Manchester United do take this game seriously and end this tie in the first leg itself.
Okay, so that's it from Anshum about the Granada game. I'll talk to Wali now. Wali, what are your thoughts about the Granada game?
Well, after a really long time, we got a favorable draw, and glad that we did. And another opportunity to advance into the semi-finals because Granada have been struggling. They are in the ninth position in La Liga at the moment, and if you talk about their points, they have 36 points. So 10 wins, 6 draws, and 13 losses. So it hasn't been a really good season for them
Hmm.
domestically. But let's not forget that they beat Napoli in the round of 16 to advance into the quarterfinals. So you never know. However, I am pretty much confident if we can quite easily beat a good team such as Real Sociedad, who recently won the Copa del Rey, by the way, then I do not think that we would have a problem with Granada as well. We do have the quality in our side, and I hope that it turns out to be another exact replay of what happened against Real Sociedad. I hope we finish it in the first. I hope we finish the tie in the first leg, like we win by 3 or 4 goals, and then have the comfort of the away goals, and then just sit back and relax at Old Trafford. It's going to be an interesting game nonetheless, because the combination with what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer goes for would be interesting, because in his head he has this idea that Paul Pogba has to start, like I've said, but he is still pretty much confused as to where he needs to start him, either in central midfield or on the left, especially while considering the fact that Marcus Rashford is now he seems dodgy. I still have no idea why we are persisting with him. Because another point which I forgot to add in the Dean Henderson De Gea thing is that if you're giving Dean Henderson an opportunity in place of David De Gea, if you're doing that as a manager, then why can't you do the same thing for Amad Diallo for Rashford? Because Rashford is clearly injured. Give him a break. Play Diallo. I'm sure he wouldn't do any worse. I'm sure he'll contribute in some way. So that's something which I want to see. But I think Rashford, even if he's 50% fit, let's be honest, he's going to start. We've said that time and time again. Even though he's internally he might
Same
be
goes for
screaming.
Bruno.
Same
Same
goes
goes
for
for
Bruno,
Bruno.
but Bruno, I don't think that Bruno has been as
Injured,
he's
yeah.
been struggling with the niggle or something like that as Rashford has been,
Because
because
that is more to do with the playing style and their duties that they are being deployed with. Bruno is
yeah,
more of
because
given a free role and creative one. Rashford is the power puncher who will go
yeah,
to the
I
team's
agree.
rush, and he'll be the one who will be going at defenders. So
And
he has more
this
chances
is
of getting tackled.
this is what worries me, because, like you said, Marcus Rashford is a proper classic player who relies on
Mm,
pace and power. And if you
mm,
keep persisting with him, and if he keeps walking off to the tunnel after being subbed off, then that will eventually hamper his career. And if
yeah.
something does affect his pace, then you know that he wouldn't be as effective as he is right now, because that is his forte at the moment. So you need to handle him with care. And like I said, if you have quality players, if Amad Diallo can score against AC Milan in a pretty classy manner, and if you give him the ball, he'll do something. We haven't given him the ball as much. So this is something
Mm.
which I need to see, although he won't start tomorrow. And I'm pretty much confident, although, that we will get the win against Granada. I just hope that it's a comprehensive one, so that we end it.
Okay. Before talking about the team lineups and score predictions, I'll talk about a certain fact that is this the final chance of winning a trophy? Yes, it is. But do you think that we'll be winning this? I just want a short answer from both of you. Anshuman, I'll talk to you first. Is this our final chance of winning our trophy this season, or will we be able to do it?
Well, this is the last cup competition that we are still in, but I don't think that
Mm,
we are. I always try to be a bit more cautious with our Manchester United all the time, so I don't think we are the overwhelming favorite. Because I feel that even though if and when you win against Granada, you are playing against AS Roma or Ajax. I would rather play against AS Roma and not Ajax, because Ajax are playing quite well. They are overwhelmingly winning in Eredivisie, and even when you do beat them, you have options like Villarreal or Arsenal. And I am in my mind, I have this weird premonition. You could say that we are going into the final, and Arsenal are going to end up into the final. And I have this idea
mm,
that Arsenal have played so average in the league, and that's the same thing that
mm.
happened with them last time around as well in the last season, that they were so average in the league, and they still managed to get into Europe, and all was forgiven. And now they have won 2 trophies. If they go into the Europa League final, despite how bad as they have played, they will be one win away from for taking all of that and just making Champions League football. And that is a prospect that sounds that, as far as narratives go, that sounds such an interesting one, that I just cannot shake that image of my mind. That if Arsenal end up into the final, that they might win it, they go into the Champions League, and that people will start making comparisons again. Then that Arteta in 1.5 years will have won 3 trophies and taken Arsenal into the Champions League. That is the kind of narrative that I cannot shake off. If I would
Mm,
want Arsenal to be beaten by Villarreal in the semi-finals so that Unai Emery can have his revenge, then we
Oh
can
mm.
think about
yes.
what Manchester United can do. So no, I don't think that we are the overwhelming favorite. we are one of the biggest favorites, and then we see what happens because how what the injuries will be, what kind of form we will be in. We should be winning it, but there is no guarantee with Manchester United.
Okay, there's no guarantee with Manchester United. Fair enough. Wally, what are your thoughts about this being our final chance of winning a trophy?
We're definitely the favorites, but are we going to win it? No. I honestly feel that we're not going to win it because which all teams remain? It's United, Arsenal. Is it Ajax? I guess Ajax is there as well.
Yeah,
Then who else do we have? Do we have Inter Milan as well, or are they not in the
Inter Milan.
competition?
No, I don't
I'll have
think
to
Inter
check. I'll
Milan
just
is in the
I'll
group.
just give it a look. But
Villarreal.
the
No, there is
Inter and there. They were knocked out in the
Inter
Champions
Milan.
League knockout qualifiers league.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
They are not
I
there.
honestly feel the firm favorites right now with the way how things are going on is Inter Milan because they're leading Serie A
Inter
as
Milan is
well. They've
not
been
there.
oh
Inter
sorry
Milan is
Inter
not
Milan is
playing
not
in
there.
Europa.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
he's
so
not
I
there.
misheard
It's
that. So
Arsenal, Salvia Praha, Granada, Manchester United,
Slavia,
Dynamo Zagreb, Villarreal,
Ajax and
Roma,
Roma.
and Ajax. Yeah.
Okay, now if I look at it, I honestly feel that we should be winning it. But the only danger, I do not know for some reason. I
Arsenal.
always have, yeah, exactly. I don't know why I feel odd whenever whenever we face Arsenal because they've been shit throughout the season. But whenever they come against Manchester United, something happens to them and they just manage to get the win. So I think if we do make it to the semi-finals, there's a speculation that we might get Ajax or Roma. So that would be another good fixture. So we should be winning it. We're the favorites, but with the way how things are going on, I'm not so confident. That can change though. But
Hmm.
I honestly feel that Manchester United right now are the hot favorites to win it.
Okay. So, according to Wally, they are the hot favorites to win it.
But I don't
I
think that
don't,
they'll win it.
Anshuman, you don't think they'll win it?
They're the favorites, but they
Anshuman,
won't. Yeah.
Anshuman thinks that United are a good side. They have the chance, but he is not going to say anything right now. So, and that's fair enough. I think that's not too bad because we, as Manchester United fan, have been enough traumatized to think about silverware straight away. We'll have to really go into the final, and still will be the underconfident ones. Let's talk about the final section. It's the team lineups and score prediction. Wali, let's talk to you first. What do you think is going to be the lineup, and give us your score prediction for the game?
Okay. I think it's going to be 3-0 in favor of Manchester United.
3-0 in the favor of Manchester United, and
And
the
the
team lineup.
lineups, I think David De Gea might start tomorrow.
Okay.
So it's going to be David De Gea between the six. And then Van Bissaka, obviously, the right back. Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof. Eric Bailly has COVID-19, by the way, so this guy cannot catch a break at all. Either he's injured, he's sick. I do not know what's wrong with this guy. And then left back, it has to be Luke Shaw. Yes, I know Alex Telles needs to be given a game opportunity, but now since we're in the business end, you want your most important players to play the most number of games. So Luke Shaw is that. And then in midfield, I think it has to be the same. For Pogba, Fred, and Bruno Fernandes. Even though, like I said, we didn't perform quite well with these three, but there were a few incisive passes from Paul Pogba towards the wings or towards the centre forward region, which actually created quite a few chances, which we do not expect from McTominay. So I think he needs to start over here. Rashford, I think Rashford, if he's 50% fit, he starts on the left. Then you have Edison Cavani and Greenwood. We didn't talk about this. Edison Cavani, I do not know if his heart is still at the club because the last game that he played for United was atrocious, to be honest. And I would rather prefer having Mason Greenwood as our number 9, and he scored in his last 2 matches, and he is the future for Manchester United. So I would rather have Greenwood up there.
Mm.
And on the right, I think Solskjaer, since Dan James was given a break in the previous game, I think Solskjaer is going to start with Dan James on the right flank. So that's my 11.
Mm. Okay, Anshuman, give us your predicted 11 and a score prediction.
So my score prediction has to be same as well. Is I think 3-0 sounds like a very safe bet. And as far as the as far as the lineups go, I think Ali would want to start a team that can just take care of it in the first leg itself, so that he can experiment in the next one. So I think it's going to be Dean once again. I won't be surprised if it's there, but I think Dean has a better chance. I think the back four really selects itself because now since Bai has COVID now, so it's Lindelof, it's Maguire, it's Van Bissaka, it's Luke Shaw. The midfield can be interesting because I think I won't be surprised to see the three midfielders he took last time once again. I think Bruno, Pogba, and Fred can start once again. And if you were to take wingers into this game, I think Greenwood can start from the right. I think Dan James can be brought in from the left, and Cavani can start. Although a very interesting take on this matter would be to start a midfield diamond, because I don't think that is an out of the question. That means that you can start with Matic or Fred in the base of your midfield. You can have both Pogba and Bruno, and then you can have Van de Beek starting in the number 10 role, where he can just make those late runs that he always does, and then you can have your front two in the shape of Cavani and Greenwood. So that is one interesting take. If you really want to put all of your creative eggs in one basket, I think that can be something that he can consider, given that Granada are not really going to put a lot of creative impetus from their side of play. I think this is something you can start, and obviously, if does not work out second half, you can revert things back to normal. So that is something I would like to see. But I think, as well, you said, the has 4-2-3-1 looks like the thing he'll go with once again. So yeah, that is my prospective lineup, and 3-0 is my bet as well.
Okay, 3-0 for both Anshuman and Wali. For me, this is a tricky one to call because they defeated Molde 2-0 in the previous round, and then they lost 2-1 against the same team. In the first leg, Molde had a red card. In the second leg, they was able to win against Granada, but they weren't able to qualify because they were one goal short. So this is a tough one to call, and I don't think it is going to be easy going for United, but I do believe you should be winning it. So I'll go with a 2-0 for Manchester United, not 3-0. I don't think especially in the away leg, United will play a full strength squad, and I hope that Rashford gets a rest. But let's see. Let's see how things proceed. That's it from our side at One United. Any final thoughts, Anshuman? Anshuman, are you there with us?
Yeah, I just hope that we are be able to nip this in the bud and not overcomplicate things for ourselves, because we have much more important matters to come.
Okay, Wally, any final thoughts?
Yeah, man, I just want to win some silverware. So just let's just beat Granada, advance into the semis, then advance into the finals, and just lift something. I want us to do this. I miss this. So let's just
Let's
hope
hope
for the
that
best.
we win something and we win this Europa League. Hopefully, get past Granada and then qualify. So that's it from our side at One United. We'll be seeing you guys again, hopefully after the Granada game, or maybe prior to that. But we'll see you guys again soon. Goodbye and cheerio.